Prisoners of the Flossenburg death camp after being liberated by the 97th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army, May 1945. It turned out that the American command had planned to drop not 2, but 15 nuclear bombs on Japan. But the unexpected Japanese decision to surrender on August 15, 1945, halted the shipment of plutonium that was already on its way to Japan. The British Crown colony of Hong Kong, under British sovereignty. About 130,000 people live in such huts on the water, 1960s. This girl found this photograph in an old family photo album 66 years after the start of World War II, and learned that her kind grandfather was a Nazi soldier involved in mass killings. Throughout the USS Triton's secret mission to circumnavigate the world submerged, the only unauthorized individual to spot the submarine during those 60 days was a Filipino man on his canoe who noticed its periscope, April 1960. A method of restraining a mentally ill person in a British asylum to prevent them from hurting themselves during an hysterical fit. 1950. On May 7, 1954, the U.S. officially refused the USSR entry into NATO. This decision clearly signaled the United States' hostile stance toward the Soviet Union, leading to an arms race and the intensification of the Cold War between the two powers. According to the women of the Badi tribe in Ethiopia, the most beautiful man is the one with the biggest belly, Ethiopia 2013. A bronze statue of Hachiko at the spot where he waited for his master every day on the day of his death, 1935. Jack Daniel, the father of the famous whiskey Jack Daniels, died from blood poisoning 6 years after injuring his foot by kicking his safe, to which he had forgotten the combination. Julius Dack at the Chicago police station, 1906. The criminal, disguised as a woman, was hiding from the police, but it seems he still made a mistake somewhere. A look at 2,000 yards, or a distant gaze, an unfocused gaze often observed in soldiers who have experienced combat trauma. Joe Matani, a maniac who dismembered bodies, mixed human flesh with animal meat, and made burger patties to serve to customers in his cafe. A dancer, behind her, an atomic explosion, Nevada, 1950. Wives from the harem of the Persian Shah, Nasreddin Shah Qajar, 1870s. In the photo, the 1st German Division of Sex Intelligence during World War II, they were selected based on their appearance. Adolf Hitler visits the Dresden exhibition of degenerate art, 1935. Protest against the Vietnam War, Italy, 1970. A photograph from 2019 shows 2 Colombian soldiers giving a final salute as they free fall. The rope that was carrying them suddenly broke during an air show. Children using a Bellamy salute during the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. flag. A year later, the ritual was changed due to its resemblance to the Nazi salute, 1942. Jane Mansfield poses with the winner of the Miss Hollywood contest, 1957. An Indian kindergarten textbook in which a white woman is portrayed as the ideal of beauty, 1990s. At 13, Louis Vuitton left his native village and walked to Paris in search of a better life. His journey, over 450 kilometers, was made on foot and alone after his stepfather. Residents of the Czech city of Ash greet German troops, 1938. A horrific experiment from 1970 to determine whether there was a link between smoking and cancer. In this photo, The English wizard Alex Sanders, self-proclaimed King of Witches, is initiating a young novice into the mysteries of the magical arts. The wizard placed the naked novice in a circle, then lay on top and recited incantations. Thus, the girl became a witch. Sanders died on April 30th, 1988, after a prolonged battle with lung cancer. Dolphin Hunters in the Black Sea, USSR, 1947. Dolphin meat was sold on post-war store shelves. The USSR ceased dolphin hunting in 1966. March on Washington, 1963. During this event, Martin Luther King delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. As a result of the march, the U.S. government abolished segregation and granted African Americans equal voting rights as whites. Toys of children, prisoners of the Nazi death camp Majdanek, discovered after liberation by Soviet soldiers, 1944. This is a room full of participants in the 1980 Space Invaders World Championship. Before the signing of Germany's surrender on May 8, 1945, the head of the German delegation, Field Marshal Keitel, seeing French military personnel among those present at the ceremony, was astonished and asked, "What? Did these also defeat us?" A worker accidentally left a broom and bag near the statue of Supreme Leader Kim Il-sung. If the culprit had been found, they would have faced harsh punishment, or even death. North Korea. A Viet Cong deserter shows Americans how partisans overcome barbed wire obstacles. Vietnam, 1967. Prisoners of the Herero and Nama during the genocide in the early 20th century. This pensioner dreamed of jumping off Niagara Falls in a barrel her entire youth, and in 1901, at the age of 63, she fulfilled her dream. American serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer accidentally took sleeping pills instead of his intended victim, and upon waking, found himself tied up and raped with a candle. George Moore, the living skeleton, and Fred Howe, the fat man, intermedial actors and the world's funniest boxers. USA, 1897. A rare photo of people enjoying casual conversation on September 11th, 2001. People pose for a photograph moments before they are struck by lightning. Dogs line up for a dose of coca leaf extract for an experiment, Peru, 1950. A protest against racial integration in schools, USA, 1959. American soldiers are shown one of the methods of execution in the German concentration camp, Buchenwald, 1945. A baseball team of prisoners whose executions were delayed only as long as they kept winning, c. 1910. A chimpanzee astronaut receives an apple after the first successful spaceflight, USA, 1961. A crowd gathers at an information board showing the names of survivors from the Titanic sinking, New York, 1912. Robert Wadlow, the tallest man in the world, at 8 feet 11 inches, is pictured here in a rare courtroom photo from 1939. Nearly 80% of Soviet men born in 1923 died during World War II. Two families of workers from a confectionery factory rent a corner in a room, Russia, 1923. In 1968, for the first time in history, a woman lit the Olympic flame. In the photo, Mexican runner Ketty Basilio. Patient undergoing treatment for mental illness, Germany, 1890. Kashmir Giants with Traveler Professor Rickleton, India, 1903. An automated robot imitating human speech, USA, 1845. A meeting of the American organization, Friends of New Germany, New York, 1934. The Shanghai waterfront is filled with evacuation boats after the Communists' victory in China, 1946. Patent sketch of toilet paper, created by inventor Seth Wheeler, 1891. Previously, anyone could relieve themselves right on the city streets. A public urinal in Paris, 1875. Mormons imprisoned for polygamy, Utah, 1889. The residents of Borena near the Christian school await the appearance of the Virgin Mary, whom a few kids supposedly saw there the day before, Belgium, 1933. The audience at a session of hypnotist Anatoly Kashpirovsky for obesity treatment, Russia, 1989. Harold Gillies is rightly called the father of modern plastic surgery. Thanks to his method of skin grafting, soldiers disfigured during World War I were given a chance at a new life. A parade of the German-American alliance in support of Hitler in New York, 1939. Border guards of East Berlin increased the height of the Berlin Wall by adding barbed wire to prevent attempts by residents of the USSR to escape to Germany, 1961. Two brothers from West Virginia who fought on opposite sides of the American Civil War in 1910. U.S. Lieutenant Jeremy Shales plays baseball inside one of Saddam Hussein's palaces, Iraq, 2003. In 1880, cocaine was part of many medicines used to treat colds, neuralgia, headaches, and insomnia. Thank you for watching this video until the end. I hope these photos impressed you. Some may have made you angry, brought a smile, made you happy, or perhaps even caused some negativity. Feel free to leave your comments and stay tuned for the next part. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Bye.